Hello everyone, welcome back. Today is a little bit more windy than the other days. We finally feel the weather changing, and I wanted to do the short walk before going to work and talk about some things that I've read along these lines, along this ongoing conflict in Israel, Palestine. And now, I've mentioned before the campaign, the media campaign that was being set up for this. It was, at minimum, very strange. And normally when there is a massive media campaign which goes along with some other type of campaign, in this case a military one, you have to be suspicious. And we have another symptom of this campaign. This campaign continues, and the last one was like this. I read this in a Portuguese outlet, but then I look for it. Of course, you find it in other outlets. There is this thing called Celebrities for Peace, something like this page. And so the news was about an open letter that said over 1,000 entertainment leaders. First, the title in Portuguese was Celebrities, but then I read the original and it was Entertainment Leaders, whatever that is. Leaders in entertainment. Among them, Jamie Lee Curtis, Chris Pine, Amy Schumer, shame on you, Amy Schumer, Michael Douglas, Jerry Seinfeld. Okay, some of you might argue Jerry Seinfeld is a Jew. So this letter is in support of Israel and in strong condemnation, full support of Israel and strong condemnation of Hamas deeds. And I do wonder if these people, what is the intention? Because I cannot imagine that none of these people, especially people that I have in high regard, and I not just have in high regard, I am pretty much sure that they are very intelligent. For example, Jerry Seinfeld. What was the intent? Do they not know the history? Do they not know how Israel even come to existence, the state of Israel? It's history. You can, and it's not difficult nowadays to do a little research. But anyway, the article says, the title speaks in over 1,000 entertainment leaders. And then the article says, more than 700 leaders from the entertainment industry have signed an open letter released by the non-profit entertainment industry organization Creative Community for Peace in support of Israel. The open letter calls on the entertainment community to speak out forcefully against Hamas, to support Israel, to refrain from sharing misinformation about the war, and do whatever is in their power to urge terrorist organizations to return innocent hostages to their families. So, I mean, what reaction can you have apart from laughing? So I ask, what is the intention? Do they not know how the state of Israel was created? And by the way, the state of Israel was officially created in 1948, but we know the story have started before. Palestine, which was the whole land and more, known as Israel, was Israel, Gaza, the West Bank, and more land, belonged to the Ottoman Empire. And after the First World War, the Ottoman Empire was carved up between countries from the League of Nations. And the territory, where is Palestine, Anyway, these territories were called the mandates, and Palestine was a British mandate. So they decided they ruled over there. I'm not going to go very deep into this history, but if you resume everything, you can resume to one sentence: is that when independence of these countries were about to be negotiated, they forgot to listen to the people who lived there, being the Palestinians, and they decided to create a Jewish state there. I mean, in a place where the majority was over 90% of Palestinians. The pro-Israel people, they claim that this is it's Palestinians are to blame because they were proposed several times to create their homeland, and all of those times they refused. You can imagine that when there were several proposals, but these proposals always included the displacement of families who have lived there for centuries. Why would they accept that? I mean, why? For a minority. And bear in mind that when Jews start to settle in these lands, the Arab communities were not hostile to them. Hostilities began after, on the part of the Jew community. Like I said, I'm not going to go into that, but then decades of violence. Of course, there were Arab uprisings against this, but Israel, being in minority, had strong support from the West, with everything they needed, weapons and financial aid, and so they ended up winning all the conflicts. And they got, after each conflict, they took a step further, till the point where we are now, where there is it's more and more difficult to create a Palestinian homeland, because I remember like 20 years ago, one could hope that, for example, the Gaza Strip and the West Bank would be used to create a Palestinian sovereign land, but so many Israeli settlers have settled in now, in the West Bank, for example, that for sure they will not take this peacefully, and they generated a very complicated situation. Of course, they think they are entitled to that land. Palestinians are a nuisance to them. But an apartheid state is in fact in place. And now, with the pretext, look, I have to repeat this. I'm not condoning Hamas attacks and atrocities. I condemned every atrocity, every war crime that is ever made anywhere by anyone. Okay, let's make this clear. Again, it's never too much. Anyway, moving further, Iran has warned Israel to immediately halt its war crimes against Gaza, or it could face a huge earthquake of resistance. More than 320 Palestinians have been killed just in the past 24 hours, including many women and children, in Israeli air raids on convoys fleeing the Gaza city. So you are committing war crimes, right? But you are a state, so it's state sponsored. It's not state sponsored; it's state terrorism, direct. You boast about it openly. Imagine if this was a country like North Korea, Venezuela, Cuba, Russia. Imagine if this was one of these countries. doing this, the outrage. So the main purpose of me doing these videos is to, like I stated before, do some thought-provoking, provoke some thoughts on you. And of course I will fail miserably in changing anything. I am aware of that. But I feel that I should do them anyway. But at least to fight against this fake narrative that only one side is the victim, being Israel the victim, and only Israel has the right to defend itself, and the rest are just human animals, like it was stated. This statement just by itself should be object of strong condemnation. It's not done by just a commoner. It's done by by a minister. So, the UN, what does the UN say? UNA chief says humanity is failing. I mean, someone gives this guy a prize. Martin Griffiths is in his latest statement on the conflict reflected on a dreadful week in which humanity is failing. I fear the worst is yet to come, he said, adding, in Gaza, there is no power, no water, no fuel, food supplies are running low, hospitals are running out of medicine, and morgues are overflowing. The humanitarian situation in Gaza, already critical, is fast becoming unattainable, he said. He also warned of rising violence in the West Bank and the risk of escalation between Israel and Lebanon and Iran. Of course, some people in the US and in the West are eager to go to war with Iran. They are utter morons, retarded people, by the way, completely disconnected from reality. It's a little bit below the human being. That's just my opinion. But anyway, also the Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan has made a statement at the press conference alongside his counterpart in Cairo. Fidan said it is important to stop the conflict from spreading and restart peace talks centered on achieving a two-state solution for Israelis and Palestinians. We reject the policy of Palestinians being removed from their homes in Gaza and exiled into Egypt. We are fully against it and stand with Egypt, Fidan said. These statements are very important, in my opinion, because we see who is in the right here, or who is at least being wise in their words or in their thoughts. I don't know how can anyone support the utter violations of human rights, the massacre, the genocide that Israel is doing now. I lack the words because Israel is admitting it openly. So, I mean, I rest my case on that one. And then you have these celebrities coming out and just condemning Hamas. Of course, Hamas is a big bag where all the Palestinians fit inside, and it's easy for the most distracted person in the West, and mostly the most stupid ones, to generalize and say Palestinians are this or that, violent terrorists, they should be put down, and people accept this massacre lightly. Of course, there is hope, because not all is like this. Don't forget that Israel has been shooting not only at Gaza, it's been shooting also into Lebanon. The risk of escalation is real. Bear that in mind. And it's also expected that if Israel keeps massacring the Palestinian people, that others come to aid the Palestinians. But I know how the media is going to spin it. It's other group of terrorists like the Hezbollah or Iranian, the state sponsor of terrorism. Titles like this that get repeated and repeated and repeated till to the exhaustion. Ooh, sorry. Overly repeated. Yeah. Anyway, you see those two chimneys there? It's a coal plant. It's used to produce electricity. It was one of the few coal plants that Portugal had. Portugal used to have two main sources for electricity, coal and natural gas. Being coal the most traditional one, natural gas was introduced after. But it's closed. It's decommissioned already. Someday it will go down. It's been decommissioned like a couple of years ago. Within this environment of these goals, achieving goals of reducing the carbon print, blah blah blah. Of course, Portugal has also a big renewable source, but you cannot control the winds. The sun is more predictable, not 100%, of course, we have the clouds and the weather, but it's more predictable, but at night it doesn't work. And so you need something to press on the pedal, the energy pedal, when it's needed. And at the moment we are only relying on natural gas for that. Some of which have been coming from Russia. Yeah. So, tell me what you think about this celebrity manifestation in support of Israel. I mean, neglecting the whole reality, the whole context. This is a complex issue. I get it, right? So if it is complex, if one cannot go just, I support this or I support that and that's it. And because they are celebrities, they can influence a lot of retarded people in this case. Seinfeld, really? Just because he's Jew, doesn't make any sense. I mean, just because you belong to that team, are you going to tolerate all the atrocities and all the shit that they do? It's insane, right? Let's all think about this. And let's all, among your community, among your friends, among your local politicians, let's contribute to cool down this warmongering state we are all getting in. Okay, this is for me, southwest coast of Portugal, beautiful as ever. Unfortunately, we cannot see the sunset because it's already behind the clouds. And over there it's a big harbor managed by Singapore authorities, Port Singapore administration. It's a huge terminal of cargo vessels. And with that, I say goodbye. Till the next one.
Só para ouvir.